main truth nobody's telling the landlords is, in 2026, accepting a HAB tenant is not just a good idea, but the best financial decision you could ever make. According to one of the reports, in 2024 there was 53,726 active tenancies on HAB in Ireland, and just by the date today, in my group only there is 79,428 members who are approved with the homeless HAB or HAB. And I'm sure there's many more in Ireland who still haven't joined the group. If we just talk about these figures, there's at least 15,000-20,000 more people who are approved with the HAB, but landlords are just not ready to accept them in their properties. This is all going to change in 2026. I personally wanted to talk about this issue because only in my group there are thousands of members who are directly affected with this issue. I want to make sure I reflect every single one of them's concern. So with these new 6-year rules and limited no-fault evictions, the last thing what you want is an unpredictable tenant, but a HAB tenant. They come with the built-in financial stability. Council pay the most of their rent and they just have to pay a top-up from their own pocket. Now at this very point, let's talk about this issue when a landlord says if the HAB tenants stop paying their rent contribution, the county council stop the rent to the landlord. Yes, that's true. But even under the new law, you're fully covered. They have done the breach of the obligation. That means they could be served with a valid termination notice and you can proceed the eviction in a lawful way. These things can be the same way if there is a non-HAB tenant in your property. According to a survey last year in 2024, 99% HAB tenant was up to date with their payment. And on the other side, there was around 14% non-HAB tenants, according to the RTB report, who was in debt arrears with the landlord and convictions was made. So you can't really make this a logic. The HAB tenant will not pay to the county council, and the HAB tenant will get a bigger problem if they don't pay their rent to the county council. They lose their HAB. They have to go back in the whichever number there was, they have to lose that and they have to go back all the way in the queue. They have to go through the whole process again. So unless they have a very hard financial situation, I don't think there will be any HAB tenant who wouldn't want to pay their HAB contribution while they are covered with the 6-year lease protection and they want to lose their HAB. Now let's talk about a little bit what changed before and after in 2026. So before 2026, the tenancies was easy to end, arrears was easy to deal with, and after 2026, the tenants are harder to remove, rents are very hard to change, and long-term tenancies are obviously guaranteed. So if you are going to be locked into a 6 years tenancy anyway, why not choose a tenant whose rent is guaranteed by the government? So let's sum up today by telling the landlord why the HAB is now more important and more better than ever it's been before. It gives you a predictable income in a system where the landlord stability is shrinking. It also gives you a long-term tenants while the market is moving towards the long-term tenancies anyway. And it's also give you protection when the rent resets and evictions are going to be very difficult. So in other words, the HAB actually offset the risks of the new laws. So let's not forget about this. Refusing HAB in Ireland is illegal. And with more attention towards the landlords in 2026 and afterwards, accepting a HAB tenant could keep you safe and avoid unnecessary legal issues. Some people also say the landlords doesn't accept HAB because they don't want to pay the tax. We will not go in these details, but this is also maybe one of the factors. So look, the rental market is changing, the laws are tightening, the flexibility is shrinking, but the HAB give you one thing which the landlord wants in 2026 and afterward, which is stability, guaranteed rent, low risk stability, long-term tenancy, and also the legal protection. So let's sum up with this. If you have to take a tenant for 6 years, either you like it or not, why not go with a tenant whose rent is backed by the The smarter landlords will accept HAP tenant in 2026. And let me say, the smartest ones are already doing it. Follow us on TikTok, and if you still haven't joined our Facebook page, I will leave the link in the description. And as usual, stay informed, stay safe, and stay homed. See you in the next video.